We're going to step it up starting right now following 2 days of learning and networking. Use our designated hashtag Marketing2CONF for conference when tweeting all about everything occurring here. Here's a quick refresher for you. So far, we have learned about aggressive marketing, accelerating the path of leadership, defeating the status quo, and so many other things. Now is the time to discuss the future of marketing as we know it. The first session on our third day is going to be about digital marketing in 2023 and beyond. What stays and what goes? In this panel discussion, experts will look at how technology such as AI, blockchain, and augmented reality will shape digital marketing in 2023 and beyond, and how marketing will evolve further based on changing customer expectations. To give us these answers, we have our moderator, Eric Yaillen, CEO of MegaFluence. Let's give him a resounding round of applause as he comes up on stage to take this session forward.
So while we're talking about things like the fancy stuff in the Web 3.0 space, like AI and, go ahead, why don't you just take a seat? Like AI and augmented reality and metaverses and things like that. I think when it comes to marketing, we might as well just start with the very basics and decide what stays and what goes. So why don't we both all introduce ourselves and we'll get started.
Sure, I'll go first. My name is April Vantassell. I am the CEO and Marketing Strategist of my own agency, Infinite Digital Marketing and Web. We do a mixture of everything in one house, from social media, email marketing, content marketing, SEO, and website design.
My name is Jessi Park. I'm the owner and founder of Inspired Insurance Solutions. We're a nationwide brokerage that has over 200 agents nationwide. I recently launched my own bag line as well. So I use the same marketing concepts I used to grow my insurance brokerage to now launch my bag line.
And my name is Eric Yaillen. I am the founder of MegaFluence and the MegaFluence method. And basically what MegaFluence is, it's how to be a market leader in your niche in everything from our current Web 2.0 world to a future decentralized Web 3.0 economy. But it all starts with the basics. So let's decide what stays and what goes. And for the people here in the audience, if you want to participate, give your 2 cents, raise your hand, whatever you want to do, please join us. So let's start with maybe the first thing I hear a lot from some of the gurus out there. Websites are dead. Who agrees?
I completely disagree. Websites are essential. I think they're just different from how they're going to be going. It's not the static websites. Websites were first started in like the 1990s and 2000s, and we remember that. It was like the little box shape, and it was meant to be a digital brochure. But now I believe they're just taking a different way. It's about being more interactive on your website. So interactive forms, calculators, things like that. I think they're just changing. They're not dead. It's just people are still using them statically, where users want definitely more engagement from your website. They want to be able to participate more.
For sure, no, I don't think websites are dead whatsoever. Most of my business that comes to the insurance agency are through websites and lead funnels and what's considered older forms of marketing. I feel like people, like you said, just want something more interactive where they can go on, they can scroll. Maybe it's connected to your social media. Social media is huge and we use that a lot, but definitely you still need a web presence to. It has a lot to do with your validity and having your thumbprint in the internet and a place for them to land, like a landing page to research you.
Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of both. I'm going to take a little bit of a contrarian point of view.
Okay.
And that's because you said, I think, the most important thing. You need a web presence, but do you necessarily need a web page? In other words, a website. Most of the businesses that put out, have a web presence, all they do have is that digital brochure. The contrary part of that is the sales page, the sales funnel. And that's going on the concept of a confused mind is not a buyer's mind. So when you go to typical web page or web presence, there's so many things to choose from. And where do they go? And what do they select? And how much research are they going to take when now we see videos going to short form? And if you do long, we'll get to that next, is, is long form video dead? But the idea of just having your web presence as the sales funnel, give the customer one thing to think about, one thing to go through, walk them through it step by step. Maybe that's a better way to go. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's about, when I see a lot of websites, it's a lot of confusion because they don't have an essential process. Because people want to go to your website, they don't want to think. They don't want to burn any brain cells. They want to be like, just tell me where you want me to go and make it in the easiest way possible that I don't have to think. So, you see too many confusing call to actions, or just so many call to actions, they don't know what to do next. Like, see our services, check our video, schedule a consultation, do this, do that. And it's just confusing. Just having them in one space, we want you to go from here to here to here, and that's it. And if you walk them through that process, you'll get a lot more better results.
I completely agree. It needs to be streamlined with calls to action that are congruent with each other, not different ones, not, book a calendar invite here, fill out this form here, just one and one only. And I feel like the more simple it is to use and streamlined to get to the end, the more people are going to respond better to your web presence.
Okay, so let's see, what else can we think about? Let's talk about social media a little bit, since that's in the news a lot lately. And we'll go through them one by one. Twitter is dead.
I don't think Twitter's dead. I think right now people are just panicking, and I think it's just kind of like feeding everybody else's panic right now. And I don't think the media is helping. I think the media is kind of making things worse and making people panic more. And I think when people get into that panic state, I think we just don't know. And I think the unknown scares people about Twitter. And that's what I think. They're like, what is Elon Musk going to do? We know Twitter. We know what it was when it first started and what it's been like. And now somebody's coming in, bought it, and changing everything that we known about it. So I think it's just fear and the unknown. Is it dead? No, I think plenty of people are there and it's an audience. I think a lot of people are just panicking and making it seem like they're leaving Twitter.
Yeah, I have never had a Twitter, so I don't think it's dead. I actually have the app downloaded on my phone, and I go through and I read funny tweets, and I keep up with things. But I personally have never been a tweeter, so I don't think it's dead. I think it is changing shape with a lot of other things that are changing across the board when it comes to how we interact with other humans on other platforms.
Okay, so the next one that is in the news lately for political reasons is TikTok.
Okay.
What is the future of TikTok? Is it going to be thriving or is it dead?
From what I've read, I guess I did read a story that Congress is again trying to ban Twitter because of its association with China and our constant struggle with them. I see it as becoming even more popular, because I think that's what made it popular in the beginning, was that our then president was, trying to ban it, and it just made people like, well, now I want to go check it out, because it was getting all this publicity. And I think the more publicity it gets, the more people want to rebel and be like, well, I want to go check it out. Now I want a TikTok. And I think right now it's the biggest fad. But I think the future is going to be like anything else. MySpace was huge back in the day, and then Facebook came and took it over. And that's the thing about social media on any channel, is the next big thing is going to come around, and they kind of take from each other. And then they're like, oh, well, Instagram does this really well, so now we're going to do it. Like now YouTube has the shorts, not to get onto other subjects, but they kind of take from each other and they enhance what's going wrong with the other social media platform and then go to the next. So I see TikTok kind of be that same way. Somebody else is going to come out with something similar but better, and it's going to be the thing. Is TikTok going to go away? No, but something else is going to take the craze, I guess.
I love TikTok. I can spend hours on TikTok. I've been on TikTok since before the pandemic, and grown, my brands have followings, and it's easy to get traction on TikTok because the algorithm is so in tune with big users. And I think TikTok took a lot away from Instagram. Instagram was king king of the castle and even more popular than Facebook, but the younger crowd really took to the shorts of the videos and getting able to display their personality. And then if you notice, Instagram copped back on TikTok and created Reels. And so I agree with what you said. They all kind of take from each other. I do think TikTok is here to stay, and I hope it doesn't get banned.
Well, one thing that, since you mentioned how the younger set really took to TikTok, interestingly enough, the largest growing demographic on TikTok is people over 30.
Now it is, yeah, because it's gained traction. I follow tons of people, even over 40, and they're so interesting. And you know, it's a platform where really anyone can be yourself. And I've noticed that the audience on TikTok is just so much more kinder than Instagram and Facebook. They're very supportive, and you know, a lot of accounts I just really like Tabitha Brown and TikTok Mama, and they're just funny. It's just gives them a platform to be themselves and grow a following, and then they all come out with merchandise, and you know, I think it's great.
And it's also become an interesting platform for people that don't take to what, I think there's a lot of people that have this perception of TikTok of, oh, you got to do something funny, you got to do dancing and stuff like
you
that.
gotta do something
And
ridiculous.
there's a lot of people who are just, they're
No.
talking and it's serious, and it's,
There's
you know.
doctors on there that talk about their patients' practices, or cosmetic surgeons that show before and afters and what to expect, and there's psychologists on there that give you practices on how to have a better relationship. So there's a huge segment that doesn't dance and doesn't do comedy on there.
So that did segue to something that April said, which is, and also you as well, about, you know, obviously the other platforms start taking things on. So the next question would be, because TikTok has made the short form video really the thing that's driving all of the algorithms on all of the platforms now, is long form video dead?
Good question. I don't think so. I think that it really depends on the video content. If you can hook them in that 3 seconds and have something very entertaining, people will continue to watch the videos. And we've done this with some of our clients, where we'll have them watch 15-second, 30-second, minute videos, as long as they find it educational or entertaining. But you got to hook them within those 3 seconds, because they have that 3-second attention span. You just got to continue to keep that attention span. If your video content is not keeping that attention span, they're going to log off. So it's just keeping up with that. I don't think it's dead. I think everybody is just getting them in that hook and then losing them afterward, rather than keeping them entertained the entire time.
I think it is potentially like on a downward spiral. It may not be dead right now, but me, for instance, and I'm not part of the younger generation, so me, for instance, if I have to watch a long form video on YouTube, I put it on double speed, because I just want to get through it, and I do not want to spend 30 minutes watching a video. I would rather consume 1 minute, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it is. So I do think that the trend will be short form. TikTok just upped their limit. I think it's to 3 minutes instead of 1 minute. So it's a nice in between. But I think the days of the 30-minute, 45-minute, 1 hour long videos on YouTube, we're going to see a huge decrease in those.
Also, I guess we should just get off the stage right now, since
Yeah,
this is a
let's go.
15-minute session. It's way too long. Okay, so again, on the video subject, so because of the short form and because of TikTok and Reels and stories, it's all vertical videos. What about horizontal videos? Are horizontal videos dead?
Good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. I don't think so, because I think YouTube is still very popular and they still do that. However, YouTube, I do see them changing and eventually going to that and following the others like they do.
Well, they
like,
do that with the YouTube
yeah,
Shorts.
The shorts.
Yeah.
So they're already making that transition in there. So I don't see it maybe as long term, because everybody's going to have to now fit their videos into the Instagram dimensions, into the TikTok dimensions, and things like that. So I do see eventually YouTube doing that, because people want to be able to share their material across all channels now. Like, I just want to put it in and I just want to share it in every single channel. So I do see them eventually going into more vertical.
I don't watch YouTube like that. So my preference is just to make it easy and stay on, Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and keep my phone upright. If there's ever a time I have to switch and then the video shrinks because it doesn't fit the whole screen, I am a little annoyed. So I do think that in the future, YouTube will possibly changed the screen resolution, but then it kind of mixes with, our TVs are wide and flat screen. So where do you say, this is YouTube and this is the screen resolution for this YouTube video, but it's also a movie that you can play on TV. So we're going to run into some troubles there.
One of the things, April, you mentioned was capturing the attention in 3 seconds. So that kind of ties in with SEO. Because obviously, if you really want to get your videos, you get content to get traction, you have to have the right hook. And that hook has to tie in with what people are searching for, and that gets into SEO. So what do you think is the future for SEO? Is it going to go up or down?
I definitely see it going up. A lot of businesses are investing heavily in SEO. I think because now everything's getting more competitive, even industries that were never digital before. Like I work with financial advisors, some of our clients are, and they've never been online. And accountants and a lot of these professionals who were like, we just did word of mouth, they're all going online. So we're seeing a huge increase in SEO, and people are now searching. Over 72% of people will search online for an accountant or an attorney before they even pick up the phone and call them. So SEO is going to be massive. And like with anything, you want your titles and everything to capture the attention. People write it so much for the Google bots. They should be writing it for the user. It's all about the user experience. So what does somebody who's searching for that, what would they want to click on? Would they want to click on SEO services in like Poughkeepsie, New York, or would they want to go, hey, get more leads to your website, digital marketing and SEO services? That is going to click them more, and you'll actually see your SEO actually or your ranking move higher because it's more clickable. Even if somebody has better SEO in there, if more people are clicking on your links, you're going to raise higher because that's what it's all about. Google's going to say, hey, more people are interested in this link or this website compared to others, and that's going to help move you up.
SEO is I think it's on an upward trend. There have been, like you said, a lot of people that typically didn't need a website presence or to be able to show up in search function, really now getting online and wanting good SEO. I own an insurance brokerage, and everything has always just been dialing leads that you purchase that people went on a website, but now it's really a push to have a local presence. And there was a fun fact. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Morgan & Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay, so they started off in my hometown as Morgan, Calling, and Gilbert. And John Morgan had bigger ideas, and he was like, I want to get on the internet, and I really think that we should be searchable and we should be nationwide. So he broke off from Calling and Gilbert, and he joined with his son, so now it's Morgan & Morgan, and they are the biggest law firm in the country because of SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Along with SEO, we had this discussion earlier in the week. When you're dealing with keywords, which is part of what drives SEO, short or long tail?
I definitely say long tail. It is becoming so competitive with short tail, and especially with a lot of smaller local businesses, especially the ones we work with, it is almost impossible. If you take like a local shoe store, they're not going to rank for women's shoes. That's going to be DSW a lot of times because they have that brand recognition, more people know them. So the long tail keywords are going to get them followed more. They're going to have more people, and especially people, they go locally. They're not going to go to the shoe store 20 miles away. They want something within 5 miles, or they want to go to the local bakery or the local restaurant. They're looking online and they're checking Google Maps, and that's been really huge is Google Maps, and that's where majority of our clients are getting their business from is actually Google Maps, which ties into SEO.
No, I agree, definitely. I feel like with the short tail, it's very competitive, and you're competing with huge retailers, large big box shops that don't necessarily, they have unlimited budget for that. Mm-hmm. So I feel like to find your niche and find your keywords, it's going to have to be the long tail.
Do you think, though, that that's going to change because the DSWs, as an example, or any of the big box people, they have the budgets, so they're going to start going after the long tail as well, and they're going to crowd out all of the smaller players?
I do see that. We're already starting to see that a lot, where especially ones that have franchises, they are starting to put locations in there. Mm-hmm. I have seen it. So they are starting to take over the long tail. And I think it's just going to push us into SEO. to create even longer long tail to help them stand out. So I think that eventually keywords are just going to get longer because that's the only thing we're going to have to do. Because once those brands start dominating those, long tail keywords we've been using for the smaller guys, we're just going to have to unfortunately go longer and modify that. And I do see that coming up very soon because it's already started to happen.
Let's see, what else can we? I just thought of something based on something you said, and it already escaped me. So, problem of getting older, I guess. With SEO specifically, do you think? Well, actually, let's go a different direction. Organic versus paid. What do you think is the future of somebody who's small, who really doesn't understand necessarily the digital adscape? Do you think that they can still build a business organically?
Absolutely. I think organic, in my personal opinion, dominates over ads. I think, like it was said before in another speaking, many of them are not ready for Google ads, and you have to be very specific. A lot of them are very vague. Your ads have to be specific. You have to have a specific landing page attached to them. And if you're not doing that whole flow, not picking the right keywords, you're just wasting your money. It's essentially putting your cash into a shredder and just shredding it. Whereas organic, it doesn't work as fast, but it's a more long-term strategy because those are going to continue. Once you shut off your ads and you don't have budget anymore, they are gone. And I think that organic is the best way to go. And also, sometimes you seem to get more qualified when you do it organically.
I've done both. I've paid for ads and I've done organic, and ad spend can get very expensive. And so for a new business that's just launching, it may not be in their budget. So one thing I've started leaning towards is user-generated content. So I do pay them to create shorts and videos and advertise on their TikToks, their Instagrams, but it's so much less expensive than paying the big monster that's Facebook and Google for ads. So I think it's a nice mixture. It's a nice balance of being organic, but you are spending money for that traffic. So it's not necessarily completely free unless you can become viral on your own. And I've seen a lot of businesses do that.
Since this was how we were introduced initially, was the idea of things in the future, AI, metaverses. So let's talk about some of the ways we communicate right now. Live events versus virtual events. Are live events going to ultimately be dead?
I don't think so. So I belong to a networking group, and we were virtual for the entire pandemic. And recently we were asked, and they go, well, do you want to go back to in-person or virtual? And we decided to go virtual, just meetings because of the convenience. However, we still do our monthly get-togethers because we're like, it is just so different seeing somebody through a computer, and we still crave that human interaction. It's so much different building a relationship, and you have a much better relationship shaking somebody's hands and speaking to their face rather than just a computer screen. So I don't think that's dead at all. I think people just like the convenience. So I definitely see it as continuing to be a hybrid rather than one taking the other.
I was actually just going to say that exact word, hybrid. With my insurance agency, we're all virtual. But I notice that the agents do want to get together like quarterly for events or dinners, because if it's all virtual, I feel like people kind of get bored of it. They need that face-to-face bonding, let's have a drink together. People really crave that still. So I feel like the pandemic introduced us to the world of virtual, and many of us got comfortable with the world of virtual, and it may have been like a nice relief from the commuting and the constant meetings and all of that. But I don't think that in-person is dead. I think it is going to shift to be a nice hybrid between the two.
Right now, when we do virtual, it's all very two-dimensional. And the metaverse brings in the concept of three-dimensional. So is two-dimensional virtual gonna, obviously not right now, but you see that going away and that being dead?
I do. I mean, you see it right now in all the animations. Disney, for example, they went from 2D and then all of a sudden everything's in 3D because Pixar, paved the way for that. And there are people that I do hear that still miss the 2D and they wish it would go back. but I definitely see 3D as the future and us leaving the 2D behind.
I agree. I mean, I don't know much about Meta, but I'm really excited about the aspect of potentially being in a 3D universe with colleagues. I think that would be kind of like the wave of the future, like the Jetsons. Did you ever watch that? So that's exciting.
Well, I would actually go to a little bit more current, not much more current, but more like Star Trek.
Okay.
And
Beam me
on
up, Scotty.
Well,
beam me down.
or going into the holodeck,
Yeah.
which obviously it was being able to interact with things in a three-dimensional space, individuals, people that were created by AI. So with metaverses, do you see it being more the VR virtual avatar type thing, or do you see it people wanting to maybe gravitate to more of the holographic image where it is actually you in a virtual sense?
Holographic all the way.
Yeah, I think that's cooler. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to be like, oh man, that's so cool, because we kind of already have, you know,
The avatars. We've had those for years.
Yeah, it's going to be, the hologram's going to be the next big thing, and people are just going to rush to that. And they're going to be like, look at me, check me out, you know, and they're going to be sharing that on TikTok and everything. Probably.
With the pricing, though, right now it's rather expensive. So how much would you be willing to pay to be participating in a 3D holographic metaverse?
That's a good question. I really don't know the answer to that yet. I would probably have to see all the features, but I'm assuming it's not going to be very cheap. It is probably going to be within, you know, the thousands. And I see a lot of big corporations doing it first. And eventually, I think as technology enhances, it'll become more affordable to the rest of us. But I think, you know, the big, you know, guys are going to have it first.
I agree. I'm a late bloomer. Like there's a cycle of a consumer, and whenever a product comes out, there's a certain amount of people that jump right to it. They want to be the first, and then there's, you know, trailers. So I've always been a late bloomer. I'll get an iPhone like a couple years later. So I have no interest in spending money on it right now. But when it comes more affordable and it's more widely spread, then I'll be curious, and everyone else already paid the money for it, so I'll get it for cheap.
In setting up your home or an office to do that type of situation, you're probably going to have to convert a room into be, again, like the holodeck. So do you see yourselves in the future, maybe 10 years from now, having a room set up to do that?
Yeah.
I think so. I know a lot of, you know, especially social media agencies and others have like the Instagram walls and things like that. So I definitely see that happening, where we'll put like, you know, a space exactly just for that, because as marketing agencies and marketers, we have to be ahead of the curve. And, you know, if we're not doing it, then how is that going to make us look?
For sure. I mean, I had an Instagram wall. It was fun. I think that those things are where, as we grow with social media and it becomes more entwined in our daily lives, I think we're more able to kind of integrate it into the physical realm of what we do. So I can see in the future, 10 years from now, us having, you know, a virtual reality room, a Meta room where you go and you can have your meetings. And people, instead of looking for 3 bedrooms because they have 2 children, they're going to want 4 bedrooms because they have 2 children and they need a media room.
Along with the metaverses, now we're getting into something that's very prevalent now already, and different people are incorporating it in different ways, and that's AI, artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Are you implementing it yet in your businesses, any aspect of AI?
Yes, absolutely. So we use AI a lot of times for content, to get fresh ideas, especially for our social media posts, because, you know, as a marketing agency, you know, you have so many clients, so many different industries, you essentially run out of juice sometimes. So it's, you know, creating the blogs, but, you know, the biggest mistake we've seen is everybody just takes and copies and pastes. They don't put that human element. So we use it as a guideline, and then we go in and put in our own voice or the client's voice and put in that human aspect. I think AI works great for that. You know, we're going to start, you know, designing, like, you know, we have the chat boxes and the chat assistants, and we are going to begin implementing it in our agency to our clients in January, so they can keep up with, you know, the large chains.
I have chatbots that answer questions in chat if someone has a question, and it gives them a link to either become an agent with us or a link to get an insurance quote. So we already have that. And then as far as I did download Quillbot, which is artificial intelligence to help you come up with ideas for e-commerce and marketing and descriptions for products. So on my website for my bags and everything, that is Quillbot right there. That did all of that. I did change a couple things, but it was, like you said, you run out of juice. And so I feel like it really helps the creative aspect of content writing and content strategy and social media posts.
What about the ethical dilemmas associated with AI? So for instance, you can go, and I have people that do this, they'll create a fake presence for their business. For instance, they'll set up multiple sub-accounts on LinkedIn, and they'll say they have regional sales representatives across the globe, and they'll use AI to create fake profiles and fake imagery. So they're not taking, stealing another person's face and putting it on a profile. They're actually using AI to create a face.
Wow.
So what about those ethical concerns for the future?
Wow.
Yeah. I think that's just going to be a dilemma, but I think in all aspects of life and marketing and technology, there is going to always be an ethical, and in Japan they have robots running a hotel. Like, how ethical is that of when they're going to take over human beings entirely? I see it being, help. I do see the ethical, because I know a lot of our clients will come forward and say, hey, these, people contact us on Instagram and stuff and be like, oh, we can get you all these 5,000 followers, and a lot of them are AI generated. And it's, it's hard because they're not going to buy from you. You want authentic people that are going to buy from you. That's the whole point, and follow you on social media. So I do see a lot of companies doing that. And ethically, it does make, other agencies like us look kind of bad. Like, oh, are you guys just going to give us like a bunch of AI generated, or are you actually going to give us? So I think it's going to make it a lot harder for, agencies like us. But I think it's also like there's pros and cons to everything, and it's also going to help us a lot.
I think the moral dilemma is going to exist in any aspect of business, and there's always going to be people that try to skirt outside the rules, and that's not really anything that, it's just kind of human nature. You have humans that do that, and then humans that play by the rules and everything, and that's definitely misleading and not true. It's an untrue statement, and so the policing of that, I'm sure as time goes by and there's more and more instances of potentially, money laundering or what have you that results in all of those things, there will be laws that are created. But at the time right now, I think because everything is so new, how do you police that?
One of the things that you mentioned before we got on stage was that you're involved with doing a lot of influencer marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because that is a big trend right now, is finding influencers to help push a brand. So selecting influencers can be very difficult if it's only based on things like follower count, considering all of the bots and the fake followers. So how do you go about making sure you have the right influencers?
So the follower count doesn't really matter to me. I mean, obviously I don't want someone with 40 followers, but if they have, 800, 4,000, 30,000, all of that's great, but I look at the engagement. So whenever they do a post, I'll see how many likes it has, how many comments is big, right? So you want to see how many comments. I look for 100 to 200 comments per post, and then I'm like, that's a good influencer for me. So that's how I find my influencers. They've all come to me. Hey, can we do this for you? These are my rates. And so some of them just do it for product. They don't do it. They don't charge you anything. And so, I love UGC. I love it. It's very easy to work with. It's very easy to find. And like I said before, I think it is the new wave going to replace ad spend.
Now, shifting quickly back, just because you mentioned it, when you get to AI, comments and likes and all that, that can all be AI generated as well.
It's unfortunate. Maybe someone got some free stuff from me with AI.
That's why it's so hard to evaluate the people, is how much. I don't know if one thing I don't know if there's any AI that can evaluate the other accounts to determine how much of those comments and likes and followers are real people or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
I-
that's one of the things, by the way, that Elon Musk has been trying to do with Twitter,
Yes, he has.
is figure out how to get rid of all of the bot-generated content.
I think it's going to happen. I think somebody's going to create one. I mean, you know, we do have audits right now where we can go through a website, we can go through social media, and we can check and see everything. I think that's definitely going to be, you know, the future that's going to be added on is how many fake accounts follow you, how many fake comments, you know. I think that's definitely the future. I think it's going to happen very soon because of all that unethics, and I think it's going to be such a high demand where a lot of people are like, how many actual, you know, users and followers is my marketing agency getting me? So I think I see that very soon happening, that the AI is going to happen.
I hope.
Obviously, depending on the type of business we have, we operate in different spheres. Obviously, a local business is going to be operating a lot differently, or a service firm in a local area is going to operate differently than other types of businesses. But in a bigger sense, outside of just marketing in general, there's another statement that I've heard every now and then, and that's retail is dead.
Both of my shops, I have the bags and the perfumes. I'm brand new to e-commerce. I just launched in July, and I only have e-commerce. But I don't think it is. I think it will. I don't think the days of the Mall of America are going to last much longer. But I do think that people still crave to go in there and touch and feel and see the quality and smell the perfume and try out the makeup and try on the clothes. You know, because I shop online a lot, and this was something I actually purchased in person. And my husband was like, "See, don't you like to try it on first?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, you know, but I also like the convenience of clicking." But, you know, sometimes you get it and it's not good quality, you have to send it back. And I think the newness of online shopping is still among us right now. I think in a couple years, people will start to crave that in person again. And it may not be big malls, but maybe strip malls will have a come up, or, you know, I don't quite know the answer, but for me, myself, I don't want everything to always be online.
I could agree with that. You know, we have some local businesses. We have actually a local popcorn store, and people want to still go in and go smell the popcorn and go get the free samples, and they want to be able to interact with them. But also, we just finished a website for them where we made it more interactive. They can now build their own popcorn tins, and they can go and select that now, and they can pick out their size, and then the designs show up based on that size, and they can pick their flavors. So I think it's going to be another hybrid model. I think people are going to still crave that in person, being able to touch and feel, but still having that convenience of being able to, and now, you know, the glasses shots, you can try on glasses, you know, take your picture and you upload it, and it'll show what your glasses look like. So again, I see that as another hybrid model that people still crave it, but we also like the convenience of online.
Okay, then how about the idea that local is dead, that really there isn't ever going to, again, depends on the type of business, but you brought up a perfect example. The popcorn store, is it just, before it was just a local business. Now that you're on the internet, it doesn't have to be a local business, it can be an international business. So is local dead?
I don't think so. I think that especially with those, you know, majority of their audience, I mean, they get people from like Texas and, you know, other areas, but, you know, they still are like, you know, homegrown symbol in their area, and everybody in that town is like, oh, we know exactly the shop you're talking about. They know the owners, you know, and most of their clientele, I think, are going to become locally because they have already built, you know, when you start up as a business, you're building locally first. And that's even where we start our SEO, is even local, because, you know, your local audience is going to start you up and build you up, and then you're going to expand out. So, you know, you're always going to have that loyalty of the local homegrown, because that's kind of where your roots are.
No, I don't think local is dead, especially for service-based businesses. So massages, car repair shops, nails, hairdressers, right?
Of course, they don't really have a choice.
So when we're talking about e-commerce products, though, I think anyone can be an international. They can have an international audience unless they don't want to. But why would you want to? So I think, in a sense, I think it's a nice hybrid model, but I don't think just because you are the local popcorn shop and everyone loves you, I don't think there's anything wrong with selling popcorn to Texas or Florida or France, right? I think that just adds to the flair of, wow, our local popcorn shop is incredible. They have clients all over the world and they're right here.
Now my old brain remembered what I was thinking about earlier, and you talked about the importance, especially again getting with SEO of Google Maps, which then goes to Google My Business.
Yeah.
How many businesses do you come across that don't have a Google My Business presence?
I would probably say it's half and half. There are those that have it just because they're like, we were just told to get it, and we don't know really what it is or what it does. And then the other half are, they don't have any existence whatsoever. And especially now that Google My Business has merged with Maps, it's more important than ever because those two are conjoined. And that new transition has just confused people even more. But a lot of businesses are starting to see the necessity of a Google My Business. So a lot of them that don't have it have started coming to us and saying, do you do Google My Business? Can you build it for us? And I see a lot more businesses needing that and realizing the benefit of having it.
Awesome. I'm not a marketing agency, so I don't know.
But do you
Do I
use
have Google My Business?
Absolutely.
I do. Yeah, for my insurance business, I do. And we have great rankings, great 5 stars, and I think that helps to the credibility, and it all shows up on Google My Business.
So that brings up another good point, and that is the importance of social proof and using the tools that are out there to get those 5-star rankings. So obviously there are sites that you can go to. So here's another site, whether it is alive or dead. Is Yelp dead?
No, I use it all the time to find places to eat. All the time. I've heard the bad side to Yelp. I've never paid for it, but I've heard that people can leave bad reviews, and unless you pay, you can't get them off. I don't like that business practice, but I do like the concept of being able to go and look at reviews and pictures and things like that.
Yelp is an interesting one. I do see a lot of businesses, especially even people, going away, especially now that we have Google reviews, Facebook, reviews. I see a lot more. Most of the people I talk to, they always check the Google reviews. I think Yelp was the initiator and they started it, but I think Google just came and like we were talking about social media, they came and made it better. And everybody's searching on Google. Everybody has Google, So I see Yelp slowly going away and becoming less popular. And I see Google as still being the dominator of, deciding where I'm going to go. Because when I go search for something, I Google it. And I Google my maps. And I look at the reviews and who has a 4.0, who has a 3.9, what did people say? So I see Google reviews as being the dominator.
And Facebook.
Yes.
So another problem that I see a lot with the businesses that I go and consult for is technology is a big struggle. And part of it is there's too many choices, and they tend to have a lot of duct-taped systems together that they don't have everything in one place. Do you see that changing more and more?
Absolutely. My company and I, we just white labeled a CRM, and we were able to plug in a website, a social media calendar, and everything in one place where we put in their social media content, but then we also give them access, their own special access, our clients their own special access, where they can go in, they can edit their website on their own, they can check in, edit, their social media posts, and they love the convenience. We even offer them bill pay, things outside of marketing that they can get in that CRM. They can go send invoices and do their accounting, but they love it. They're like, I don't have to have 20 different logins, kind of just like they like the all-in-one marketing agencies. I don't have to deal with 20 different people. I don't have to deal with 20 different apps. It's all in one place. So we just launched that, and we're seeing a huge demand for that. And even our big clients that don't have it want to have that.
What about things like social listening, the ability to not have to necessarily be on Instagram or be on Facebook to respond to messages, or to know when the Google or the Facebook reviews come in so that you can respond quicker to them?
Absolutely. Now we get like emails and we get alerts from Google that like, it pops up everywhere. So I do see them, and we do have that in our CRM, and it pops up right there, and it says, hey, you got a Google review, you got, or especially a bad review, so we can answer that quickly as possible, and we can get that kind of issue off the internet and solve it better, especially for the negative reviews. And we have that all in one place. People love it. They're like, I could just go right there. I get an alert. It goes to my email. It texts me, so right away.
So in our little over a minute left, where do you see the future of marketing?
I see it definitely more technological based. I see it more as businesses using it to provide better customer experience. I think that's going to be the big thing, is how can I better assist my customers? What can I do to better help them? And that's where I see marketing is focusing more on that, especially with the technology aspect.
I think it's going to trend to be a lot more, like I said earlier, the user-generated content, the short videos, the reviews online, that you, instead of going to Google and searching up and looking up the website, instead you're going to try to find them on Instagram or TikTok, and you want to see real life people using the product and what they really think about it, instead of potentially like a paid ad. And I think we're going to start to see a real rise in that kind of stuff. For instance, whenever I come across a new product, I don't want to go to their website and see fake reviews. I want to go on TikTok or Instagram and see what real people think about it. So I think we're going to see an upward tick in that.
The one area that we didn't discuss is NFTs. And the one thing that we see right now is that most of what is out there as NFT, quite frankly, is garbage. One of the things that I do is I work with people to make sure that it's incorporated into their brand properly. So that's one area that I think certain businesses can figure out another way to not only market their products differently, market their services differently, but also develop new recurring revenue streams that didn't exist before. So with that, we've used up our time. And if you have any questions, I'm sure we'll be around to answer them if anyone's interested.
Thank you.
Thank you.